And to kick off this, from what we know, like on the media side, what's been reported over the years is that Shang-Chi was kind of in development or planned for a very, very long time, but obviously it didn't happen for a long time. So what do you think this film would have looked like had it been released all those years ago?
I don't know. I mean, it was set. We had a wish list and still do of characters and stories that we'd love to bring to the screen. And Shang-Chi has been on that list for as long as I've been at Marvel, as were lots of other characters that we've now since brought to the screen. I think it would have been different. It's a good question, actually. A what if scenario that is interesting to think about. But I don't know is the answer, because this movie is the result of the people that made it. And would Destin have been able to make the movie? Would Simu have started the movie if we'd made it 10 years ago? Of course not. So like all of our movies, I'm lucky enough to be very thankful that we made the movie when we did, so we could make it with the people that we did.
So with this, you obviously play a huge role with the fake Mandarin or the Trevor Slattery. Ben Kingsley comes back, and he actually has a bigger role than I would have expected. I thought it would just be a cameo. So is that like a conscious effort to try to not necessarily redeem him, but give him more of a shining light for who he was, not being a role as the Mandarin?
Yeah, it was an idea early on as we were developing this incarnation of the story for Shang-Chi, that 10 Rings has a history going back to the very beginnings of the MCU. And we thought it would be a fun way to acknowledge the twist in Iron Man 3, the fake version of a 10 Rings leader, when we meet the actual leader of the 10 Rings and Shang-Chi's father, Wenwu, in this. And if you get the opportunity to continue working with Sir Ben Kingsley, you want to find every opportunity to do that.
So with this, you have, just to jump forward to the credit scene, it's a pretty big credit scene. You have Captain Marvel and you have Banner there, but he's Banner, not Hulk, not Smart Hulk. So what was the decision?
His arms in a sling. He's Banner. His arms in a sling, if you noticed that.
I did.
You're the first person to ask me that question, by the way. I know you won't talk about it until after the movie comes out. But you were the first person to pick up on that. So
why is he back to being in like a human form? And does this have anything to do with his future with She-Hulk, something like that?
All good questions, sir. All very good, very observant questions. You will find out why that is the case. And thank you for noticing. And Mark Ruffalo thanks you for noticing.
So going back to the beginning of the film with Wenwu, there's a decision that the Vitalo village decided not to allow him in and everything. And in my eyes, with What If going on, I think that was like a perfect idea. What if they did allow him into the village? How would that have changed? That's something you would look into making perhaps in a What If season 2 or season 3 or anything?
Another good question. That's the fun thing about having the What If series now, is that we can explore questions just like that. And I will say, just as season 1 is tapping into films and storylines from the MCU that you've seen up to this point, season 2 will definitely incorporate movies from Phase 4. So I don't want to say any more than that, but yet again, another very good question, sir.
And then spinning off of that, a lot of the stories being told right now on Disney Plus particularly are about the multiverse. And Shang-Chi, while it has like an alternate dimension and all that, it's still quite a grounded and personal story. So where do you see his story falling in this grand scheme of things going forward?
I think with every Marvel superhero that we bring into the MCU, all of them are important and integral in the future, and their characters are what shape the future of the MCU. And now that people have met and seen the origin of Shang-Chi, it is safe to say that he will have a great influence on the future. The notion of dimensions and Ta-Lo, that again is the gift of the Marvel comics, that you have not just other planets, not just other dimensions, but other universes, other realities. and it's fun to be at a point now, 25 movies in, 6, 7 TV series in that we've shot, that we're able to really start playing with the full canvas that the comics have brought to us.
So what are you excited now that Shang-Chi has come out and it introduces this whole new era of martial arts and his character and like that part of the world? Where do you see going next, not just with bringing new Shang-Chi stories, but other characters?
I think the sky's the limit on the type of characters that we can bring to the screens. What I'm most excited about is the fact that we've finally been able to tell the story of Shang-Chi, and that audiences are finally going to be able to meet not just Simu's portrayal of Shang-Chi, but the entire cast of characters, all of whom I think are fascinating, and audiences, I think, will want to see more of.
With Katie and Shang-Chi's relationship, especially in the beginning of the film, and things they say and do with like Katie's family, and then at the end of the film with their friends, it felt very relatable that other superhero movies and even other Marvel movies just haven't been able to do, because although he has these powers, he has these 10 rings, he's quite a grounded character. Even things like what Katie's grandmother says about them getting married, something like myself, I've experienced as kind of a minority. Was that more of a conscious effort in developing the story, or did it just come out naturally as it's being made?
I think both, but I think that's what primarily our screenwriters, with Destin, who is also a screenwriter, and Dave Callahan, who was the first writer to start building the story for us, wanted to bring those personal elements into the story. And it's been remarkable in screenings at that very moment with the grandmother. You can hear the audience relate to that and respond to that. So I do think it was very much a conscious effort on Dave and Destin's part to bring that to the screen. And I hope with all Marvel heroes, it is their humanity that makes them relatable. I think Shang-Chi is probably a more universal story than a lot of them, because of the family element and because of the cultural specificity in which that family exists.
By the end of the film, you have the card where it says the 10 rings will return, not Shang-Chi will return. What was the reason for that?
To be honest with you, I think the intention of the first tag makes it very clear that Shang-Chi will return. So we didn't have to say it again. The end of that second tag was more about the organization itself of the 10 rings, which seems over the course of the movie that it perhaps has been dismantled. And you learn otherwise in the spoiler-filled tag.